Hello, welcome to the Myth-Busting Neurodiverse Relationships podcast. I'm Natalie Roberts and I'm here with my co-host, Heather Parks. We've both been in our neurodiverse relationships and families for more than 25 years. We met 10 years ago when we were feeling really desperate and trying to solve a lot of issues in our relationship and our families. We've been journeying since then. We've found many more positive and hopeful ways to solve, resolve, repair, reconnect in those relationships and in our families, in our lives. And we now co-host also Loving Difference online, giving hope and a way forward for neurodiverse relationships. In this podcast, though, we're busting the myths about neurodiverse relationships, which we had when we started this journey, that we've realised aren't true, and that actually were preventing us from recovering and having the relationships with our partners and children that we wanted. So we want to dispel these myths and bring you hope that absolutely things can change. So whether you're out and about or comfy with a cuppa, let's dive into our next conversation. See you there.
Hi, Heather.
Hello, welcome everybody. So big one today, episode 2, and we thought we'd just go straight in with communication.
Oh my gosh, such a massive topic though, isn't it? I think for me and for my clients, it's like top 3 topics that people get in touch with me needing to like deal with. Massive, really massive. Yeah, so why are we talking about that today?
Well, partly because we've got a course coming up. Compassionate Communication, our 8-week course starts on July the 1st. So we really wanted to make everybody aware of that, but also just because it's one of our foundation pillars, isn't it? Because of that fact that it is so impactful. And also, although it's such a big topic, we are often very mindless about it, aren't we? We just don't really think. We just speak, we react. We're not aware of what's in control. We're hijacked quite often by our nervous systems, and it can really cause a lot of breakdowns in relationships. And but the great thing is you can learn to do that differently. That's a massive area where you can make changes, and even better, it doesn't even matter if your partner's on board with you or not.
Oh, I like that. I like that when we don't have to get other people to join in. So how was this for you before you had new ways to figure stuff out? Let's share a bit. So how was it for you before you had different ways to handle communication?
Really difficult, actually. Really difficult. I found myself getting very defensive. So I live in a household where there's a really strong negativity bias, and I just had this urge, this drive, that it was my responsibility to correct, change, challenge, defend everyone and everything. And then I'd get quite emotional about that, and because I really do feel passionately that I really don't like that kind of thing going on.
So kind of conflict is tough anyway. Like I'm definitely a conflict, or certainly was conflict avoidant. It wasn't something, or tough conversation, hard conversations. I was like really found those really hard.
Definitely avoid. I just got into avoiding. But I think the reason I got into avoiding so badly is because every time I did try and have those conversations, I was hijacked by my own nervous system, which made me go into this kind of defensive emotional state. And then the reaction was, oh God, eye rolling, that. And you'd get, oh God, here she goes again. You're over emotional, you're oversensitive. And I really started ending up believing that, or I just really felt like I hated that response anyway. So I thought, well, if that's what I'm going to get, I'm just going to stop.
Yeah, I think for me, there was a number of things. There was certainly I did a lot of mediating where there were, just communication breakdowns all over the place between, individuals in the house. And certainly me and Pete, I really remember a few things, like certainly hamster wheel communications or conversations that just went round and round and round, and we never got any different outcome. And in the end, you kind of just avoided those. And there was another thing where conversations would just get cut off. So like I would be trying to talk about something, but it seemed like they would just, either the topic would get changed or it would just turn, I don't know, it would just sort of end. Like people would even walk away. And I was like, oh, we're done. I just was, it left me just confused. I just got really confused, and anything emotional, was just always really difficult. And in the end, I think like you, I just stopped mentioning or talking about anything that was certainly emotionally related. It was just really messy, like, and painful.
I know, it was messy, and it was just upsetting, and really upsetting. I felt a huge disconnect in the relationship. I recognise a lot of what you've been saying as well there. I've definitely got, into this situation where I felt it was my responsibility to sort out everybody else's relationship in the house. That kind of swift changing of topic, which I now recognise was, really that was a message that the capacity for this type of conversation is over, and it's not, and that
anxiety has got really high.
Absolutely. And that maybe we just need to find a signal or a way, we have new ways of just kind of, you're saying, actually, let's come back to this later, that I'm at capacity, or just even being very mindful about checking in when it is appropriate to have those conversations, put in some kind of boundary in around how long we're going to have those conversations. What is your capacity for that kind of a conversation? And just kind of, setting it up to be successful rather than setting it up to fail. And that's, there are so many things you can do without any kind of buy-in or, and that, we love that here in Love Indifference. We are not about changing anybody else. We are about making the changes that we have the capacity to do, which then kind of have a positive impact on our relationships and how it goes in the household.
I can remember when I started to feel better and I had more capacity. I had capacity to ask some of those questions. I can remember saying to Pete, like, how long could you talk for? Or what capacity do you have? And certainly the negativity was another big issue for us. But that started to really help, just to know that. And even just to let him know something more about when we both had a bit more capacity. This thing about conversations just seemed to cut off. He still doesn't know really what he does or what's going on there. Because like you say, it's unconscious, unaware, mindless in a way, because we're just doing what we always do, and we don't have any different ways to think about it.
It's a behaviour that solves a problem. So there's if you look at it like that, it's just an adaptation, isn't it? And he's doing what he needs to do. And I think the thing is once we understand that, and we can then have compassion for it instead of feeling frustrated and angry that they're just like cutting us off mid-sentence. It's just a lot about awareness and
knowing which conversations are hard, because conversations that, say, for you and I are really easy, for me and Pete, or for other family members, they're very tricky, challenging, anxiety-inducing conversations. So it's recognizing that communication that's been massive for me, uses energy in our house. It's not an easy thing, so it needs more capacity to be able to do it well.
That's a really good point, actually. It is exhausting.
Can be really exhausting.
It really can be. We sit together and we go out and we and we'll talk for hours and hours and days without any problem, and it's filling our buckets. But those really difficult conversations, or for some people just everyday interactions, are really exhausting. And that's another thing, just to we do talk a lot about compassion, self-compassion and compassion for others.
Some of the big topics, I was just thinking of a really fun, like an example that just came up for me this weekend, and I know it's the same for you and I, like booking a trip or making an arrangement for something, say. And I did it with a friend this weekend, and I was almost surprised myself how quickly and how easily we did it. Like, worked out when, what will we do, and it was all done. Like, I literally, half an hour. And I realised, in our house we figured out, I know, that actually this is several weeks of conversations and safety around the communication and some of these things, which is not to make it sound like completely daunting and horrendous, but it's just that recognition how different communication needs are, and how we need to adapt, not change who we are in that respect, but adapt to and just align with and know more what we need and what others need, and then what's kind of the third way to find that can
it's about
bring a
finding
better way through that.
solutions, isn't it? Collaborative ways that, so that you're both communication ways. It's not about one person getting their needs met and the other one not getting their needs met. We want as good a solution as possible so everyone feels heard, validated, and that the solution suits them. And that's not always possible. I'm not like silver lining it all, but I think if we go into the communication with that intention, with that kind of value, and with good heart, I think
intention is such a massive thing. It is much more intentional communication, and with much more awareness of stuff that we just had no idea about before. So tell me more about the course, Heather. How's it going to work?
So it will be on weekly sessions, about an hour. From in the UK that'll be 4 till 5, but wherever that is on your time zone, we've got people from all over, so we try to find a time that would work within the working day of waking day.
With Sarah, who's in Sarah's on the East Coast of the States.
So she's doing it in a different time zone, and we'll have the first 6 sessions will be kind of mostly sort of content teaching led. There will be facilities to ask questions, and in our course environment you can post questions and we can address those as well. And then the last couple of sessions will be really dedicated to your communication challenges, questions, really allowing you to do some practice if anybody wants to come forward and do some role play, or Sarah and I will pick out your query and go back and forth and just show. Sometimes it's really good to recap. So you go back and you look at a situation which was a bit of a disaster, and the way I started practicing was literally that I would then go back and write down where I saw that went wrong, actually what I could have done, what I could have said, because that started getting some of those pathways in my head.
But also practice, isn't it? It's something you can learn the tools, and you're going to give people tools and the awareness that they need, but that they can then week by week be getting better at. But it's the practice. It's just knowing you are going to do it. It's going to go wrong. It's still going to be tough for a while, but you do that with the support of you and Sarah and with others who are trying out the same stuff.
Yeah, and it's about having some time and space around it to really think about what your values are, intentions, all those kind of things that we don't tend to have time to think about. And then, we're going to go deep into the process, the actual steps by step, what you can say, which is a bit more of the script. But the entire course is way, way more than a script, because we're really going to be looking at your nervous system and your defenses and your stories and narratives and everything that's really formulated the responses that you tend to have. And we're also, a lot of it is about learning to take a pause.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, for sure.
That is like the hardest.
Well, slowing everything down a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, slow down.
About slowing communication down. Yeah. We're trying to get often so much done in a short time, so much in one conversation. That's one of the things that I know has been beneficial for us, is to slow the whole thing down and be trying to solve less in that time, if that makes sense.
And actually that's really frustrating, because you kind of get quite solution focused, don't you?
Yeah.
And what we want to be is relationship focused.
Yeah, for sure.
Important thing. We want to keep connections. We don't want to just problem solve to the end of the problem. That's not the issue. The relationship's the important thing. And
not coming with the solutions. I know that was a huge lesson for me, but I know you'll dive into that. Who is this for? It's just remind us who this is for anybody in neurodiverse relationships, families. So it's for all neurotypes, isn't it? It's for everybody.
Compassionate communication is key for everybody.
Yeah.
But we're loving difference, so of course we have neurodiversity and neurodivergence very much at the top of our minds. So we'll be honouring difference and different types of communication needs, ways that you choose to do that, and we'll be honouring, you know, different sensory processing and different nervous system reactions, and yeah, so it's for everybody, but particularly we're sensitive to the fact that you know, sometimes communication can be an issue in neurodiverse relationships.
Yeah, fantastic. So you and obviously you and Sarah leading that have exactly that experience, and we'll be bringing that and your examples and your experience into that. It's not, it goes beyond kind of just teaching the...
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, and one of the interesting things is that Sarah and I both have very, very different communication needs, and working even to put a course together with Sarah, you know, it's needed some adaptation from both sides, because this would be way too long for her.
I know. Exactly. Please can we do it in less than 2 minutes? Thank you.
Yeah, so the videos I've done with Sarah for the course, it's like, no, we've got to get it under a minute.
Yeah, I understand. So how do people join, Heather? How do people hop in and get in? It starts on the 1st of July. So how do they join?
So somewhere around this video, there will be a link. Click on the link. If you're not in Loving Difference already, you need to sign up, make an account. It's a one-off payment, or you can join Loving Difference. It's up to you. There's 2 options when you come in, and then you'll find your way into the course environment. There's a video in there already to give you a bit of an orientation, and through there we'll have all the links to the live sessions, and that's where we're going to post the videos afterwards, as well as all your resources.
Yes, there's replays. If you can't make the live sessions, I know there's going to be replays, isn't there? If you can't make all of them on the day.
The first 6 workshops will be all available on replay, so the teaching content's all going to be available. We won't post the playbacks for the practice sessions because we really want everyone to feel really comfortable. And I think once they think it's going to be posted, everyone's going to go, oh, I don't want to do that then. That's why we're really mindful. We want everyone to feel really safe and secure, and able to bring your own personal challenges. So obviously, if you don't want to go live with those, you can post a question to us, send us a message, and we'll pick up the gist of it in an anonymous way. So that's the other way of doing that as well.
And, what would you say then is what's been the biggest difference it's made for you, and like you personally, and your family or your relationship, your household, in learning these different ways of doing this?
So much less energy wasted. So much less energy wasted. I just calmer, less reactive. I feel more in control of what I'm doing, and not always. I'm human. I've been practicing this for a long time, and Sarah and I were both completely honest. We do lose it, you know, we're not perfect, but the thing is we're very aware of what happened, so afterwards we can go, right, hijacked, I have something to repair there. I have a reconnection to make, rather than just feeling that it's everyone else's fault and they made me angry and, you know, it's their job to apologise. You know, I'm much better at doing that, and actually that's really powerful. And empowering. This stuff is all really empowering. I think that's a really good word. I think for me it's been better connections with each person in my household. It's just improved the relationship with that, and I think overall in the house, there's just a calmness, you know, there, and like you say, it doesn't mean that sometimes it doesn't, there isn't a blow up or something doesn't happen, but it doesn't have as much impact these days, is what I notice. We can recover from it more quickly, things do get handled in just a much more mindful, intentional way, because we're more aware of of what we tend to do, I think, as well, so we can be more mindful of each other's needs. I think that's really been really helpful. And it doesn't mean everybody's all at the same level in the house with all of this, but it really models something. I think that's the other thing. You took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say that. I was just like, I want to say that.
You say it.
Absolutely, as parents here, I just feel so pleased that I'm now modelling a better way of communicating, and a kinder, a more compassionate way, and modelling ways of making that repair and connect.
And
what I really still need to work on, Natalie, is that we don't finish off each other's sentences, because that's still a challenge.
I know, and I don't interrupt, but I am an interrupter, so I'm sorry.
We are, but there's still room for improvement.
Thank you. And I've definitely noticed in learning some of these skills and language and different ways of being in communication, it does model, and I have seen now, it has not been immediate, but you do see the ripple effects of that, and I sometimes do hear the same phrases or similar words or a way of asking or a way of requesting something which has a different energy to it, a different words to it from other people in my home who haven't learned any of this stuff. And so I think but the person that benefits most really is you. It's not like
absolutely.
A lot of people say, well, why do I have to do all the work? But because you'll be better for it. That's why.
Yeah, and you feel like you just feel better. You feel better if you communicate better. It's just simple as that. Yeah. The benefits come back to you. You may have put in the work in the first place, but it definitely comes back. Yeah. And and for parents, partners, really everybody, it's one of those things. Actually, it should just be on the curriculum.
I know. So we're doing a good thing. We're doing a good thing.
If this episode has resonated with you, subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening or watching to get notifications of future episodes. To dive deeper into all of this with professional coaching, resources, and all the support you need, join us in Love Indifference via www.loveindifference.net. And we'll be back here soon.